compared to the Englishman, I think the Welsh are sort of more poetic, they're more family.
I think being Welsh is more about being in the countryside, being more of a farmer, really.
I think the English can tend to be a bit more straightforward, a bit straight up, and but I think, the Welsh would wear their heart more on their sleeve, I think.
No, we don't like to be called Englishmen because we're Welsh.
Zeg dus nooit zomaar Engelsman tegen een Welshman, want daar zijn ze nogal gevoelig voor.
The English call us sheepshaggers, but we're not. There's lots of farming here, so there's lots of sheep.
If that's what they think, let them think it.
I've never shagged a sheep. I'm never going to.
Okay.
Well, I think the most rivalry is when we play against England in Cardiff in rugby.
That is the match of the season, always has been. To beat the English is always the challenge.
Zoveel is duidelijk, ze zijn in feite een compleet verschillend volk. Nu, ze hebben hier in Wales ook een verborgen schat. De Welshire Coastal Path. In 2012 nog verkozen tot the best outdoor activity in the world door Lonely Planet.
The coastal path in Pembrokeshire is particularly celebrated for its beauty and its wildlife.
We enjoy walking, and particularly along this coast where there are many medieval castles, and we're keen bird watchers, and we enjoy the flowers.
It's seals, porpoises and seabirds.
We started out, it was very, very difficult, the first stretch, very high, very up and down, and now it's quite pleasant.
The cliffs in the north are about 450 feet, 150 metres high, and there's lots of up and down. Here they're only maybe 60 feet high, so it's flatter here.
One of the things I love about the coastal path is that there's a constantly evolving scenery, and you never know what to expect around the next corner. For example, that was an oyster catcher just going past there.
Dit Coastal Path is in feite een ononderbroken route van 1400 kilometer, waardoor je als wandelaar de hele kust van Wales kan afwandelen. En voor mijn trip langs de Coastal Path ga ik me concentreren op dit hier. De regio rond Pembrokeshire, of zoals ze het hier zeggen, Shebemfro. 240 kilometer, dat zou dus nog moeten lukken, denk ik dan. Ik ga niet alleen, want ik ga mee met Ian. Right, Ian?
Yeah, I think so.
You know how to tell me anything about the coastal path, can you?
Yeah, but probably the best thing is if we go and have a look.
Okay, let's do it. But Ian, that's not really a Welsh name, is it?
No, I'm a blow-in. So
You're imported.
Yeah. No,
Where are you from originally?
Well, just north of London.
I see.
But I came to Wales as a Cub Scout, and we went to North Wales, and I just remember all these huge mountains and loads of sheep and no people. And I thought, yeah, this is the kind of place where I'd like to live.
So already a kid, you knew you were going to once move here, then?
I think so. I always wanted to live somewhere like this, yeah.
So, Ian, you're a ranger.
Yep.
What does that mean? That you, I don't know, you're in charge of maintenance of the coastal path?
Yeah, to some extent. I'm a kind of a link man between the National Park Authority and the actual sort of fabric of the national park, the people who live here and the people who come here to enjoy it.
Yeah. What do you do for maintenance then?
Well, for instance, yesterday I was up at Garnvawr and we were putting in a new gateway. We cut the coast path here, so every year we have to cut this about 3 times. And in total in the national park we have to maintain about 2,000 kilometres of footpaths and bridleways. And sometimes it falls into the sea and the grasses grow over the path. So, yeah, it's a full-time
So you need to move
job.
it all the time?
Yeah, we have to move inland as the sea nibbles away, yes, certainly. And here we're very close to the edge. Fantastic drop you can see.
Oh, wow!
It's quite something, isn't it? And
So that's why they say you have to stay on the path?
yeah, if you stay on the path, you should be perfectly safe. Once you step off, then all bets are off, because there are big, unprotected drops all the way around.
Dit Coastal Path is geweldig. Het voert je langs 18 middeleeuwse kastelen. En dat doet me er trouwens aan denken. Ik ben lang niet de eerste die hier loopt. Daar waar velen stappen, vormt zich na verloop van tijd een pad. Scenery changes all the time, doesn't it, over here?
Yeah.
Right now, we've got this small port. We were just at cliffs just earlier.
Yes.
It's just like the weather, I would say.
Ever changing. It is one of the appeals, because you never know what's going to be around the next headland or in the next bay.
Even in fauna and flora.
And I suppose that's in large part because the geology is so varied here. And that's like the bone structure, and then everything else develops on top of that.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted you to see this.
Wow. This is beautiful.
Yeah, this is Pwllderry. It means the oak pool in Welsh.
The oak pool?
Yeah.
Well, it should be called Stunning View.
It is amazing, isn't it? And this headland running out is called Pendle Steve, which means is the head of the black goat, is the name of this particular run of cliff.
Do you know what it is about this spot? I mean, we in Europe tend to cross the Atlantic to go and have views like this. But you've got it in your own backyard, don't you?
Yeah, you don't need to go that far, do you? No, it is absolutely stunning.
And that's what, I mean, this coastal path is about. I mean, you need to walk the land so you can get to know it in its own tempo.
Yeah, I think if you come here in a motor car, then you'll go away wondering what all the fuss was about. But if you walk it, then it will make sense.
It's like a musical masterpiece. It has to be played in its own tempo.
My goodness, you're very lyrical.
Well, I know. Shall we continue?
Yeah, well, if we walk this way, we go to Stromble Head, to the lighthouse. And if we walk that way, it's about 2 days walking to St. David's.
Lighthouse it is.
Als je de 1400 kilometer ononderbroken route van het kustpad van begin tot eind bewandelt, dan ben je in totaal 70 dagen onderweg. Maar maak je geen zorgen. Je kan namelijk zelf kiezen welke gedeelte van het pad je loopt. Ideaal voor een dagwandeling bijvoorbeeld.
The final bit.
Yeah.
It's quite steep, my friend. Woo! What a view, eh?
Well, we're not the first to be here. This is actually an Iron Age hill fort. We're looking at a very similar landscape to the one those people would have done back in the Iron Age. You know, the field boundaries would have been different and the houses wouldn't have been here, but you know, the basic structure was all here and it hasn't changed that much.
So it's like a journey into time.
Yeah.
Terug naar de bewoonde wereld.
Ik ben beland in St. David's, een van de meest toeristische trekpleisters van het land. Dat heeft te maken met 2 dingen. 1, het is de kleinste stad van de UK. En 2, het is het geboortedorp van St. David's. Of zoals ze hem hier noemen, Dewi Sant, de patroonheilige van Wales. Die werd geboren in de 6e eeuw en verspreidde het christendom over de hele UK. Met als gevolg dat mensen van heinde en verre kwamen naar dit bedevaartsoord om onder andere te kijken naar dit hier. Een van de meest prachtige kathedralen die het land rijk is. Tegenwoordig komen ze ook voor de goede crème glas ook wel en voor coasteering. Dus je neemt een bergbeklimmer, je geeft hem een helm, handschoenen en een wetsuit. Je dropt hem aan de kust en je laat hem dan allerhande dingen doen aan die kustlijn. Je gaat van mountaineering naar coasteering. And that in fact is a Welsh invention, isn't it, John?
That's right, Ben. Yeah. It was first appeared in sort of texts in 1973 and was done mainly by climbers earlier than that. And it was started here in Pembrokeshire commercially in the mid-80s.
So what is coasteering exactly?
Well, coasteering is pretty much exploring the coastline on the rocks, in the water, a bit of swimming, bit of jumping, bit of climbing, and just having as much fun as you possibly can.
Brilliant.
In this environment, you know.
They're not waiting for us. Maybe we should get going.
Yeah, enough of questions. Let's get in. The weather's in charge. That determines where we go, if we can go, if we can't go. The swell, you know, is a good potential of banging you against the rocks. So that's the thing you need to always look out for the waves. Wearing the correct equipment is essential, and definitely go with a qualified guide or outdoor centre that know what they're doing, you know. We have a limit sort of at 10 metres, which is kind of a nice sort of safe height. You know, beyond there you can really sustain quite significant injuries, really. great way of making people aware of the coastline. There's a lot of wildlife, and people can see how the wildlife lives, you know, and they can see what a beautiful place we have here, you know, so they can get really close to nature. And also, it's great fun, you know. Some people do it for adrenaline. Some people do it just because they want to see the coastline, you know. It's a very flexible sport.
To walk the coastal path is one way to discover the Welsh coast, but this is a whole different ball game.
Yeah, this is definitely a more fun way of seeing the coastline, I think, yeah.
Het beste wat ik vind aan coasteering is van, ja, je hebt het gevoel dat je echt gewoon aan het leven bent. Je hebt maar één leven, maar als je het juist doet, dan heb je er maar één nodig natuurlijk.
De Welsche kust ontdekken vanop het land is één ding. Maar op deze manier moet je hem ook gezien hebben, van op het water. Wij trekken naar Ramsey Island, een eiland met een geweldige diversiteit aan vogels.
Maar eerst wil skipper Fian me laten kennismaken met een uniek en bijzonder natuurfenomeen. De bitches.
So these are the bitches. It's an almost continuous reef of rocks that runs along to the end rock and then two others. And what's happening here is you've got a large amount of tide funneling through a narrow channel. They're then held back by this reef of rocks, and it can run through the reef itself here at anything up to 18 knots, which is well over 20 miles an hour. So whilst it's a popular play spot today with kayakers, and we have hosted international kayaking championships out here.
You have?
Definitely, yeah, but it's definitely not for the faint-hearted. Graded as a grade 5 whitewater rapid, the gradings only go up to 6.
Would you ever consider coming kayaking here?
It's not my cup of tea, kayaking, definitely not, but I have quite a lot of friends who do.
En dan het echte werk. Aan de veren kent men de vogel, zeggen ze wel eens. Wel, vandaag ben ik blij dat ik een kenner heb meegebracht.
We've got a couple of little oyster catchers just down to the right here, these black and white birds with the long orange beaks. They will feed between the two tide lines, feeding on things like limpets, mussels, barnacles, pretty much whatever they can find. And they're also very noisy little birds. And they're very territorial birds as well, the oyster catchers, during the breeding season.
Get off my rock!
They spend a lot of time doing this. So these little birds are razorbills. They are fantastic swimmers and divers. They use their wings to propel themselves under the water, very like the penguin. They're not the world's most aerodynamic of birds.
Just like
they've got
as well.
Yeah, they've got quite large bodies, quite short, stubby wings, and it's a very high-energy, fast wing-beat flight that is needed to keep them airborne. But they're really beautiful little birds, razorbills.
They are, yeah.
We've got predominantly guillemots up here. There are one or two of the razorbills that you've just seen, but the guillemots are a slightly larger cousin of the same family, and these are actually their breeding ledges. Razorbills and guillemots don't build a nest. They lay their eggs directly on those very precarious rocky ledges, and they then incubate the egg on their feet, a bit like the penguin. It's quite a pear-shaped egg. It's much more pointed at one end than the other. The theory is if it were to get knocked, it should roll round in a circle rather than ending up in the water.
They're very penguin-like, aren't they?
They are very penguin-like, yeah.
Oké, dus dat was Ramsey Island. Geweldig rondje rond het eiland. Maar mijn goede vriendin Fion heeft nog een klein toemaatje, een dessertje. En dat is op Grasholm Island te vinden.
De zee wordt ruwer en het duurt niet lang voor we gezelschap hebben.
I think we're fishermen.
Yeah, they will follow the boats. They feed on bycatch quite a bit, actually.
So what is Grasholm Island known for then?
Grasholm is known for the gannets these days. It is a bird reserve and it's protected for the gannet. It's the third largest gannet colony in the UK.
Wow. Why exactly this island? Why did the gannets come here?
Well, the gannets have a tendency to choose offshore islands. They'll also go, because they're a big bird, they need quite a bit of lift. So they will tend to go for islands with relatively high cliffs. They have a fantastic hunting technique. These guys will dive from anything up to 100 feet in the air. They dislocate their wings a split second before entering the water, so that when they go in, they're very streamlined, like an arrow. They can hit the water at speeds of up to 60 miles an hour. Now, that impact with the water is obviously immense, so they have a number of adaptations that help them. They have air pockets in their head and body, which they inflate to cushion the blow. They have a secondary eyelid that comes across their eye, which they can still see through, and that protects their eyes. And they also have internal nostrils with baffles, so that when they hit the water, their brains don't get washed out by the incoming seawater. So they're quite an amazing bird, really, the
The
gannets.
submarine bird.
Langs de kust van Wales vind je 41 blue flag stranden, waardoor je weet dat je hier een uniek ecosysteem vindt en de waterkwaliteit zeer goed is. Je kan hier letterlijk van het strand eten. En laat dat nu precies zijn waarvoor ik hier ben.
Hier in Wales heb je tijdens het ontbijt geen bacon en beans, maar wel bacon en lava bread. En dat is een soort van koekje gebakken in varkensvet met een heleboel zeewier erin. Niet echt zeewier, maar de Porphyra umbilicalis, wat eigenlijk lava is. But what exactly is lava?
Lava is a seaweed that you can find in the beach all over Wales, and we're going to go and find some today.
So that's why we need these funky little buckets.
Exactly.
All right, brilliant.
Yeah, there's no bread in lava bread. It's lava is just the cooked seaweed, but it became known as lava bread because people used to have to knead it and pound it on the rocks to get it into a malleable form to process it exactly before they could eat it. This one here is a type of sea lettuce. We call it gutweed. This is what you find in the Chinese takeaway. If you order deep-fried seaweed, it's this basically. And you can
But would you eat it raw?
Yeah, you can eat it now. I mean, it depends how you like it, but
It's quite tasty, actually.
yeah, that's all right.
As expected, a bit salty.
A bit salty, but if you took it out, washed it, and then fried it, you'd get that seaweedy flavour without too much salt.
Well, my bucket's still empty, but the view makes up for it, I suppose.
Yeah, from here you can see all the different seaweeds. We've got a lot of bladderwrack here, which is probably the most prolific seaweed on the
That's
beach.
what we don't want.
No, not today, not today. We're looking for lava. And if you can kind of see the sun glinting off the lava, I always think it looks a little bit like melted plastic on the rocks.
So we're here. This is it.
Yeah, this is lava. This is what people have been going crazy for hundreds of years.
So what do we do? Do we rip it apart or cut it off? Do you
You
want
can snip it off, because that allows the plant to regrow.
You should have become a hairdresser. So this is what the Welsh have been feeding on for centuries, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a very traditional foodstuff. It's full of iron, full of vitamins. It's very good for you. I put it in butters, we put it in burgers. We do a dried version that we use for seasoning, so we put it in chowders. There's so many different things you can do with it.
It's really nice. It's best well lekker.
We were doing that yesterday.
Yeah.
So you've been travelling a lot?
We're looking for a little plant about an inch tall, which is purple and frondy, like a fern almost.
Maybe the subtitle can tell me what that is. Purple.
Purple, about that tall.
About that tall.
Like a little tree or like a little bush. Yeah, this is pepper dulse.
Did you find it?
Yeah.
Oh.
It tastes like mushrooms. They call it the truffle of the sea.
Does it really taste like truffle? Do you think so?
It tastes a bit like, it tastes well mushroomy. No?
Nee, toch niet echt. Purple en bushy dus. Zoals deze hier misschien.
This tastes like... Can you taste that? It tastes like mushroom.
Maybe that's the mushroom one.
I think this is the mushroom one. Really? This
I
one
think you're
tastes
right,
like
you know.
mushroom. Well, we've all learned today. I'm glad I got to teach you something.
I think you did actually. I can go and find some rock samphire.
Tastes like carrots.
Yeah, it's got a really strong carrotin flavour.
Without the sugar of a carrot, by the
But
way.
without the sweetness of a carrot, exactly.
En het
So
doet me denken aan zeekraal.
Okay, that should be enough to make a nice salad with it. We'll take it back to the trailer, add it with some tomatoes and olive oil, a bit of seasoning. That'll be lovely.
Mijn goede vriendin Amy kent niet alleen alles van zeewier. Zij en de Beach Food Company haalden even terug nog de Best Street Food Award van het Verenigd Koninkrijk binnen. Sindsdien kunnen ze de vraag hier haast niet meer bijhouden. En nu begrijp ik dat helemaal.
It's very tasty. It's going to be in one big long piece, yeah.
British people were, you know, Neanderthals in the kitchen.
No, far from it. That's the traditional image of British food, yeah. But things have moved on a bit.
They have. A little piece of heaven on earth. Succulent, brilliant lobster.
Glad you're enjoying it.
Wow.
All straight off the beach.
Dit is fantastisch. Having lobster with Amy in Wales.
In mijn geheugen gegrift. Amy en haar kreeft. Die 1500 kilometer kustpad ga ik niet helemaal doen. Ik wil namelijk nog wat overhouden voor een volgende vakantie. Maar ik begrijp wel waarom zoveel hier van deze hidden gem komen genieten. Een verborgen parel Wales, tot nu uiteraard.
Toen ze me zeiden dat ik naar Wales ging trekken, kon ik me niet meteen een beeld vormen van dit deel van het Verenigd Koninkrijk. Ik wist dat er veel schapen zaten, en die zijn er ook, maar Wales is veel meer dan dat. In feite is het een beetje Schotland in zakformaat. Zo net zaten we nog aan de kust en nu zitten we alweer in de bergen. Ik ben onderweg naar een plek die al even idyllisch is als haar naam. Snowdonia. Maar dat is voor volgende week.
Meer informatie over dit geweldige stukje Verenigd Koninkrijk vind je op 1.be/Vlaanderen Vakantieland.